Hi everybody, welcome to Q Stories. My name is Gage Gatlyn and I use he, him pronouns.
And my name is Nicco, and I also use he, him pronouns.
Nice. What is your questions?
So, my first one is, where did you grow up, and do you think that had any sort of effect on you?
I grew up in Jacksonville, Florida, for the most part, between Jacksonville, Florida, and a small town on Lookout Mountain in Georgia. I spent my time split up between those two places, and yes, it had a huge effect on me and my transition because in Florida, I could be out and be who I wanted to be, but when I lived in Georgia, I just, I was a tomboy, but that was as far as it was allowed to go. Yeah. And those people still don't know that I'm trans. Yeah, like I haven't been home in a long time. Mm-hmm. So, and the last time I was home, I didn't see anybody. So like nobody knows, I don't think, that I'm trans.
Yeah. Yeah. They probably would not recognize you either.
No, they would not recognize me at all, for sure.
That'd be an
interesting
thing to explain. Can
you share a little bit of your journey in self-discovery, like a realization about your gender identity? When did that come to you and how?
So I always had some sort of idea. I was kind of a tomboy. I liked to play with like sticks and bugs and whatnot, but I was like still a Girl Scout. Mm-hmm. So there was that. I was just kind of always comfortable with myself until puberty hit, and I was like, oh God, yeah. Oh, this is horrible. Yeah, I do not like this. That's the worst time. Yeah. Because like as I started like developing as female and started learning about how that puberty was going to affect me, that's when I realized I was not happy. Yeah. I was like, I don't want to develop like that.
Don't want to be this person anymore.
No, because like when like middle school started, everyone, the boys started growing like mustaches and they started getting taller. I didn't grow. I didn't get a mustache.
Right.
And I was like, wait a minute, I don't know how I feel about this. So probably around 12, 13, and I cut off all my hair at 14.
Yeah, I was in the 8th grade when I cut off my hair. So about the same age.
Yeah, because my hair was so long, it used to go all the way down to my back.
Yeah.
And then one day I just decided, let's cut it all off.
Yeah. And you started growing it back now.
Yes.
So are you more comfortable with the long hair? Yeah. No. It's weird because I had really long hair too when I was a kid, and when I cut it off, I felt great. But then when I started transitioning and I was cis passing, I wanted to grow it back out.
Exactly.
But then it started falling out. So now I don't have any hair. So hang on to yours for as long as you can.
If I had figured out any sooner, I probably would have kept it. Because I probably would have started turning it into like dreadlocks. So if I had kept all of that, my hair probably would have been like down to my hips by now.
It'll get back there.
It will. My hair grows so fast.
You're next.
So I know that you like drag, and I wanted to ask, how did you start doing drag, and what does drag mean to you?
Oh wow. So I started doing drag in 2003. I did it once for fun in California, and it wasn't even on an official basis, but I was with a bunch of other drag queens and stuff. And I moved to Florida when I got out of the Navy. And I started going to the gay bar there, and they have drag shows every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night. So I ended up liking to go on Thursdays because it was the open stage night. It was to watch, and I would like to watch Rhiannon Todd. She was my favorite. She is an amazing drag queen, a female impersonator, whatever you want to call her. And I asked her one day, hey, can I do that? Is it possible? And she's like, hell yes, you can do that. This is what you need to do, and blah blah blah. And she told me all the steps I needed to do to get ready, and I learned a couple of songs and got me a little bit of outfits together for each one of them, and I went in and I did my 2 numbers, and I actually won the contest that night.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I did it again the following week, and I won. And then 2 weeks later, I did it again, and I lost against a live singer, which was fine with me. And then I did it again 2 weeks later, and I won that time and qualified for the big pageant at the end of the year. And then I ended up winning that big pageant against 7 cis males. I was the only drag king. And I was just addicted. So we ended up getting shows set up at different clubs throughout the city and then throughout the state. And it just blew up from there. So by like 2005, I was traveling all over the country.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it really opened my horizons when it comes to entertainment and the gay community. You know, I got a lot of family, you know, in the community now.
Yeah.
You know, when I started doing drag, it opens up all these doors for you. And it also helped me come to terms with who I was and my gender. You know, I was able to express myself the way that I wanted to express myself when I would do drag. Put facial hair on and, you know, a little bit of makeup to make me look flawless, you know. And then now it's like, now I have to wear a lot of makeup. I'm getting older, but it's okay.
I feel like drag kings definitely don't get enough representation.
They really don't get enough representation. I complain a lot on Facebook. If you follow me on Facebook, I complain a lot about kings not getting booked because they deserve to be booked.
They do.
Yeah, we put in just as much work as the queens do. We use just as much makeup. We put just as much money into our costuming. We wear wigs. You know, like we spend a lot of money.
Yeah, and you're fabulous entertainers.
And we're great entertainers. You know, we're some of us are funny, some of us are serious. We're different. We're across a whole spectrum. You know, and I think it's important that kings get the representation that they deserve, and they're not, unfortunately. It's getting better.
Yeah.
But here these last couple of years, for some reason, like there's pride shows going on all over the country where there's not even any kings on the stage, you know, and it's like, why? You have 10 plus entertainers on your pride stage. You couldn't find room for one king. You couldn't find room for one AFAB individual, you know? It's sickening.
I think it's the fact that like there's RuPaul's Drag Race and all they show.
Right, and why isn't there a king on RuPaul's Drag Race yet?
I don't know.
Why isn't there a king on RuPaul's Drag Race?
Maybe one of these days I'll make my own show.
Yeah, when she finds out she'll make money off of a king, she'll book a king. Anyway, we kind of got off subject.
A little bit.
So, speaking of community, how has your experience been navigating your identity within your family, your peer group, and your community?
I'd say it's been a little bit difficult.
Yeah?
Like within my family, I was my mom's only daughter. So it was a little bit difficult to come out and like realize that. Because she would talk about like how badly that she wanted, you know, to have a daughter. And it's like, you're not going to have that.
Yeah, sorry.
So, yeah. So like it's hard to navigate those emotions of like feeling bad for like having come out in the first place. But I knew that I would have been happier having come out.
Was it life or death for you?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, it is for most of us.
Because I know I couldn't be happy living as a girl.
Right.
That's just not what I wanted.
Right. In school, how have your peers taken it?
School is okay for the most part. You just have to know who to be around and who not to be around. And like who not to be around, they make it like overwhelmingly obvious.
Right.
So for the most part, I usually just keep to myself.
Stay within your own group and
yeah. Because I don't really put myself out there too much unless I want to. It's like most people don't know that I'm transgender, but also they don't really ask.
Which is fine.
It's fine with me.
Yeah, mind your own business. Perfectly fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I get it.
So for the most part, I just keep it to myself. Until today.
Have you made more community since you've come out, like in the LGBT community itself? Have you met other people within the community?
I would say definitely, especially since like going to support groups, like the Gatlyn Dam group. I made a learned a lot
Cool.
from going there. And it's good to have that type of support.
Great. Great.
What do you think are some of the biggest challenges you faced during your transition, and how did you overcome them?
That was my next question for you. My biggest challenge, my biggest bathroom situation. The bathroom situation was the worst. There was, there's a part of your when you start transitioning, it's where you don't really look like a girl, but you don't really look like a boy either.
Kind of like ambiguous.
Yeah, you're very yeah. And there was a time when I would have to ask whoever I was with, if I had to use the restroom, I would ask whoever I was with, should I go into the guys' restroom or the girls' bathroom today? What do I look like? What do I pass as right now? Which bathroom should I use? And most of the time it was, you need to go to the guys' bathroom, Gage, but you still have that doubt because, you know how people are, and people are scary.
They are.
So that was my biggest hurdle transitioning. And I still have doubts when I go into the bathroom because I know how horrible people are. If somebody's gonna look in the crack and see me sitting on the toilet, or somebody's gonna be listening to my pee and think that I'm too close to the toilet, or there's just these weird thoughts you have in your head while you're in there, that make you wonder if somebody's gonna catch on. But then again, you can't use the female restroom because then you'll definitely get your ass kicked when you come out. But that's
especially you have a beard, so.
But that's what they want. They want me to use the women's restroom. The Republicans, they want me to use the women's restroom. And I don't think they really realize. I don't think they really realize what they really want.
No, they can't be pleased. You cannot please a person like that. Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to ask you the same question. What was your biggest challenge you faced, and how did you overcome it?
I would say, growing up on the internet, it's just hearing, the worst things that people have to say. Because, I follow a lot of, transgender creators, on Instagram, on TikTok, because they're good people, they're funny. Because it's some of their content is about being transgender, but not all of it.
Right.
Sometimes they're just a marine biologist that just so happens to be transgender.
Just everyday stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But as soon as I open the comments, it's just flooded with the most horrific things I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah.
Because there was one woman, transgender, she is a marine biologist, she works with jellyfish. And a lot of the comments are just you're a man, right? What does it have to do with jellyfish? Right. What is the relevance of that?
Right.
What do you gain?
It's their own personal gratification that they get when they correct somebody. They feel like they can see it, and they can always tell, but they can't.
No,
they can't always tell, and they're just triggered, so easily triggered. Snowflakes.
So for the most part, I just try not to engage with them at all.
I like to get in fights with the trolls sometimes.
So do I, but usually it ends up backfiring on me because
it has on me too. They've come over onto my profile before and stalked my profile, and then start throwing out information into the comments about me, about my personal life, and I'm like, whoa, that's a little bit too close.
It's just usually my account ends up getting reported, and then I can't post for a while. I'm
they've reported me too, but they usually report me for stupid shit like my name and stuff, and I have an ID. I've been reported so many times and had to give my ID to Facebook so many times because people don't believe that I'm who I am. They just, that's definitely a woman. Let's report this profile because they deserve to be harassed. We deserve to be harassed because we're not who we say we are, and it's just ridiculous.
Do you think there's any misconceptions about being transgender that you'd want to address? Want to clear up?
Misconceptions. There's a lot of misconceptions about being transgender. They think that we're all going to go into the bathroom and rape their daughters for some reason. For some reason, especially trans women, they think that they just want to go into the bathroom just to take advantage of a woman or a child, and that's one of the biggest misconceptions, and that bleeds. And it's not just trans women; it's all of us, you know. But right now, it's trans women. But yeah, they think that we're bad people. They don't realize that we're just normal, everyday people trying to live our lives and get through and survive every day, just like everybody else, you know. And they won't ever get it because they're too wrapped up in their own identity that they can't see somebody else's, you know.
It's like an echo chamber. They only listen to the people that they like.
Yeah, they don't care. They don't want to know.
They don't care to learn. Which I think is probably the most hurtful part.
Can you discuss your experiences with healthcare providers in accessing gender-affirming care, and maybe how HB 68 has affected you or your trans peers?
So it's been pretty difficult, I would say. Like, just the fact that I was on a waiting list for a while, and with HB 68, so I am on period blockers, so I don't get my period anymore, but I'm not on testosterone yet. And my provider told me that she was going to put it in because I had painful periods, not for any trans-related reason, because she didn't want anyone else to see that, because of what the repercussions on her and myself could be.
Right.
And with HB 68, I am turning 18 tomorrow, actually.
Happy birthday.
Yes. So HB 68 won't affect me because it's being put in place, I think the 26th.
26th or the 27th, I can't remember.
Yeah, so since I turned 18 before then, it won't affect me.
Okay.
Not directly.
Right.
Because I go to a hospital about an hour away to receive my care, and I was talking about starting testosterone. The earliest they would be able to get me in was May 26th, because all of the youth that are not turning 18 before April 26th of this year, they had to push them in as quickly as they could to make sure they could get their care.
Right.
Otherwise, they would not be able to. They would not be able to start. And I feel bad for them.
That's insane. And there's no gender-affirming care for minors in the state of Ohio. You can't, doctors, if you go into your doctor's office and say, I feel this way, they have to cut you off and basically say, no, we can't talk about that here. They can't even give you a brochure for a support group and say, we can't discuss it here, but here's something that may help you. They're not even allowed to do that. And it's very frustrating because there's so many trans youth in the state of Ohio. There's so many. They had two clinics. They had a clinic in Cleveland and a clinic in Cincinnati, just for trans youth. That's how many and how important the care was, and now there's none.
So if you had the option, would you have chosen to be born male instead of having to go through transition?
So no. And that's because I feel like I am who I am today because of what I went through. If I was born a cis male, I wouldn't have gone through the trials and tribulations that made me the person that I am today.
Exactly.
To be able to help other people that have gone through what I went through, because they do. Make no mistake about it. Trans people we all go through the same stuff, and it varies here and there as to degrees of what we go through, but we all go through the same stuff. So I wouldn't be able to help those people if I hadn't have gone through that.
It took me so many years to figure out that's not what I wanted. How badly I wanted to just be born male. I would stay up crying because I wasn't.
Right.
But that also made me realize all of the friends I had made, all the experiences I had, I never would have had them if I hadn't, grown up female.
Right. How do you feel about representation and visibility of transgender individuals in the media and society?
That's a hard one. So in the media, when we are visible, it's usually not for good reasons.
Right. Usually somebody gets killed.
Yes.
And that's why we're in the media, right?
Yes. Or it is for a good reason, but the response to it is just outrage.
Right.
Which is also infuriating.
It's infuriating, isn't it?
It is. And also, transgender men are not represented like at all.
No.
It's only ever the trans women. I mean, I love them, but it's just like we're kind of cast to the shadows, like we don't really exist.
Right. It's because they don't think that we do exist. People think of us as tomboys and that we're going to grow out of it. And that, and this is what I see online. This is what I see people saying about us, and we're not going to grow out of it.
No.
We're not confused little girls. We're trans men. We know what the hell we're doing.
Yeah.
We know who we are. And
it's like the rhetoric of, why can't you be a girl and just like
and
boyish
just dress
things?
like a boy? Yeah. Why do you have to mutilate yourself?
There's plenty of women that do that are just
Right.
tomboys.
Right. And you know what?
It's not the same thing.
There's plenty of women that get nose jobs, that get boob jobs, get butt jobs, and you don't see people saying to them, "Oh, you're just a confused individual. You don't need those surgeries."
And fun fact, all of those things are gender affirming care.
They are gender affirming care. That's right.
But people just don't see it that way.
No, you're right. I'm going to ask you one more question.
Okay.
How do you envision your future as a transgender individual?
That was always a hard one. Because I didn't know what type of future I was going to have or if I'd have one at all. Because it was just so difficult to find myself and actually try to be happy. It's like the thing of, when you were younger, a lot of people would have dreams, and in their dreams they'd be a boy instead of a girl.
Right.
In my dreams, I was just kind of like a faceless being. I didn't know what was going on.
I always dreamed I was a boy. I'm always a boy in my dream, unless I'm having a weird dream, and then those freak me out when I wake up and I'm like, oh my God, I was a girl in my dream. That's really weird and freaks me out because I've always dreamed I was a boy. Yeah.
A lot of the times I do dream of myself as a boy now, but earlier in my transition, it was kind of difficult to see who I really was.
Right.
It was just hard to envision myself having a future, as a man, because of, how I was born. I didn't know if that was even an option that I could take.
Right.
But with where I am now, I think I'll finally be happy. I think I know where I'm going to go from here. I'm hopefully going to start taking hormones soon. I'm going to go to have a telehealth on
Like
Monday.
folks or something.
Planned Parenthood.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they're great.
Mm-hmm.
They take care of us trans folk.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
I actually met one of the little representatives at the last event that we had.
Cool.
For transgender visibility.
And that's what got you turned on to them?
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. I'm glad that they come to these events, because a lot of people don't even know that they do trans care. They think it's all abortions, and it's not. They do so much for the LGBT community.
They do a lot of good, just general contraceptives and HIV testing.
Yeah. So I think we're gonna wrap it up.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for doing this interview with me in this brave space.
Yeah.
You're truly an inspiration, and I wish you the best of luck in the rest of your transition.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.